All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Northern Arena Hearthstone Tournament. I'm Noxious. With me is Purple still to cast more of the quarterfinals. We're just done with the first match. Soundstorm just defeated his opponent in a very close series, which I thought was... I really did not anticipate it would get that close.
It came down to a Deathwing and a Yoxeron being able to deal with a Deathwing.
So it was a really exciting series. Honestly, I feel like the back and forth today has been just super awesome.
Yeah.
And the other match we've got for the quarterfinals is going to be Talion versus Impact. So we saw Impact earlier today win a series against the Rat. Brian the Rat Cortade is going to be
He beat the
eliminated.
guy with the full name.
Yep, he's got
That's
the full
impressive.
name. Impact's got a pretty good series of decks. One of his decks was kind of interesting. The Shaman list, we saw double Spirit Claws.
Weapons, a lot of weapons. Don't know how good that card is, but good thing for me is Impact's trying to figure that out. So I will have to play the card.
Yeah, one of the ways you play test, as we mentioned, is you play 2 copies of it and
Just
2
so you
copies
have
of
it more
Doomhammer,
often.
and you just figure out how frequently it's relevant and how impactful it is.
Yep.
And then eventually you refine the list down to maybe what you like more. So for now, Impact is running a very weapon-heavy Shaman. I don't know if it was banned by Talion. He is playing a Freeze Mage in his lineup, so that's kind of a scary thing to run up into.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be playing that matchup.
Yeah, so there's a good chance it's been banned by Talion.
Laughing just had a show match with RDU, I believe, where they went best of 21 Freeze Mage against Face Shaman, and I believe Laughing won as Freeze Mage.
Interesting. Was there any tech in the deck?
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. So we're going to be seeing the Hunter from Impact open up against the Patron Warrior from Talion, which we saw yesterday running the Arcane Giants shenanigans with some OTK potential in there. So we'll see if it's enough. Patrons are tough to remove
Was he
from the
running
board.
charge? I forgot.
Yes, there was a faceless and a charge in the deck. So it's the Patron list that sprinkles in the extra OTK. Although it's not quite an OTK, it's more like, I'm going to burst you down for 20 to 28.
Yep.
Deal with it. So alternate win condition against control decks when patrons just won't work.
Well, this is a good curve from the Hunter. Like, really, really good.
Yeah, did not even run into a bad
The last
play.
Barnes, I believe, we saw today ended with a little mini Savannah Highmane on the board, which impacted the game oh so much.
In the mirror match, it's a really big deal. But now we see here the double Call the Wild already set up for Impact. So all he's got to do...
I think Hunter might be the only class in the game where it's like, I have 2 8-drops in my opening hand, I'm going to lose. And it's just, Hunter's like, I have 2 8-drops in my opening hand, I'm going to win.
Yeah, because the question of Hunter is, number one, they always have the initiative. At least they try to, until turn 8, let's say. And their purpose, or at least their goal, is to simply live up until then. And with the pressure they've put up, just make sure that those 2 cards back-to-back seal the game.
I like this play a lot. Just get a bit of card draw going.
As well as board control.
Killing the Misha this turn just gave up way too much.
Yeah, it's a very common thing you do in Patron decks and just combo decks in general, is you try to use your Blood Acre on the Acolyte of Pain to get the value. And the Argent's Choir, not the card that's the most exciting to get, but given that you could have gotten a Fiery Bat or a Ping.
Without the Barnes mechanic, that is actually a 1/1 Divine Shield. So it's actually a fishing net value.
Yeah, I wonder, like, if it was a 3/4 summon a Argent's Choir card as a legendary.
I wonder if that's good.
I wonder if people play it, because there's a good chance it is good enough to be played in just any mid-range list.
My goodness.
Well, looks like value trays are not on the menu for Impact.
A bit of maybe a misstep.
That is so awkward.
But this is like such a punish.
Because what this deck does is Whirlwinds you, and then it draws cards, and then it executes your stuff.
I wouldn't even call it a misplay. It's just like, this is the most punish you'll ever get from that attack.
So here's the reason why I think this play, from Impact's perspective, is good enough. If the Whirlwind is from a Ghoul, there's no Battle Rage.
Yep.
If you attack into something, you still get executed anyway.
Yes.
So the idea here is I might as well push the damage and force him to have exactly Whirlwind Battle Rage execute.
Yep.
That's the very narrow, specific 3-card setup that punishes this.
Sometimes they have it. I wonder if he's actually even going to execute.
You don't need to, but that's what Impact was playing around, I believe, based on the line that he took.
I have a million cards in your hand. I think it's fine.
And the Commanding Shout, Pyromancer.
Yeah. He has used his coin, however, and there's not an Emperor in sight quite yet. And finally like not a splendid turn for impact, which is going to get Talion some breathing room here.
Well, Blood to Acre Ghoul is definitely okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Kill your guys, play 2 guys. That seems good to me.
Yeah. So I think Impact's decision as well, like just to go back to that turn where he attacked, it seemed like a dangerous thing to do, but it also guarantees that the pressure he's putting on now, when the Call
Is
of the
meaningful.
Wilds,
It's
you
very
know,
meaningful.
when they come down, because he's got that guaranteed burst.
Yeah.
If he just puts in enough damage and forces the Patron Warrior, not a Control Warrior, to try to stabilize, then that might just be okay. So for all the
Every
talk of
card in
problem,
Impact's hand currently does damage, so
even the
Go-
Toad when face. Oh man, that grandmother.
that is not the top deck you're looking for.
That gives you a leftover body. It's
Pyro
okay.
Shout might actually be to play here.
I think it's pretty much flawless.
It's like not good.
It's all right. You can even slam your own guy if you want.
I think you actually want to squeeze an armor up.
You mean when he goes face with Misha instead of trading, you think there's something going on? I mean, there's no high main that came out.
Slam does something on its own, right?
Yeah.
Are you that desperate for the card? Yeah, you're not. You know there's no high main. You know you just use a quick shot. He probably doesn't have bow.
We'll see what he draws off the commanding shout. That matters a lot because if it's something that makes Slam better, then you might wait. Honestly, like you want patrons. I feel like the draw might be good enough.
Drawing for patron is definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either way. Both plays are thinker. They're both lines that are good
Gain
enough.
2 is somewhat relevant, I would say.
Yeah.
Not very relevant.
Kill command on the
Actually,
Pyromancer here.
I actually very much dislike this play.
The kill command is...
I find a lot of people make this play of they kill while Pyromancer.
While it's going to clean up the board the moment a spell is played.
It's going to kill himself.
Yeah.
As long as if there's the second commanding shout. But like if you look at it here, Talion has almost only spells in his hand and a faceless manipulator that he would never play.
The
And
fear
even if
is-
he had commanding shout,
the fear
you
is
wouldn't
patron.
even cast commanding shout.
The fear is patron into anything,
Yeah.
I guess. Like patron in a rage just completely floods the board. So that's probably what it was for. But again, you have Unleash in the deck. That might give you... You might actually be able to do okay against the patrons. Because if there's no Armor Smith, you just push everything face
I
and set
don't
up.
think you beat even if Talion has 2 patrons here.
Oh man, that Arcane Giant, it's going to have to
Yep.
run into...
It's always like really, really good when you're playing things that don't die to Huffer going into the Call of the Wild turn.
And you have a 2-1 left over, which does
Which is
kill.
really good against Huffer.
So okay, going back to the double Call of the Wild hand, right?
Yep.
You're happy with it? The issue is you need to pick up some kind of Beast Houndmaster play,
You need-
Infested Wolf, Savannah Haming, something along those lines.
Everything looked
for the
good
mid-game.
until like turn 5 where he played like a huge Toad and Hero Bard.
Yeah.
And then on turn 6 he played a 1/1 instead of High Mate. Turn
If you
7
just
wasn't
change that
great.
with a single high main,
Yeah.
the game is entirely different. But Call of the Wild is, it's very good when I want to say you've put the opponent down. I'd say like 14 is the magic number.
Yep.
It's like the one number where you just push with Huffer, and then if you have the second one, you push again.
Yep.
And if both your Leox are alive, your second Huffer hits for a total of 6, and suddenly the opponent's on a 3-turn
Ooh,
clock
why
from
is
hero
he
powers.
not executing?
Shield slam value. I mean, you could milk it and just try to get some Giants faceless shenanigans.
Yeah, having 3 8/8s on the board seems pretty good.
I mean, you could charge this guy and push, or just triple 8/8. I like the triple 8/8 just because you still do have inner rage charge.
Yeah.
I mean, you win
I
next
think you
turn.
trade. Yeah, you definitely trade because you had 20. He's at 28. He's at 28. You have 24. Charge adds 2 damage for 26. Inner rage adds 2.
So you have the kill anyway. Right?
Yeah.
As long as you get 3 Giants to live, which unless Deadly Shot hits, you do. Now the lethal is still there with the inner rage charge. So going back to the play we had, even the execute plays, just name it.
Whirlwind execute.
What a
It's
beautiful board! That's so beautiful. I mean, it's a patron deck. Doesn't care. Just get the Giants in.
Many 8/8s.
And Arcane Giant was one of the most exciting cards for me when it was announced because I thought that card would redefine the way you build a deck.
Yeah.
And it's seen everywhere.
Except instead of redefining how you build a deck, what happens is this card's just really good in almost all the actual decks. And it's just that good.
Most decks that play Yoxeron or that find room for it, that can even justify it,
Yep.
combo decks draw a lot.
Yes.
And like we've even seen Freeze Mage try to make that card fit in. I'm not sure it's a good fit, but I'm saying it's one of those things where if you play enough spells, just put it in
Yep.
and see how it performs. And
Yeah.
when it performs well, you'll be good to go. All right, Impact is we're talking.
Maybe
seems
maybe a couple of bugs.
Puzzled.
Looks it.
All right. We're going to go back in. The Shaman from Impact is going to be coming out next against the Freeze Mage. The Shaman was not banned. What was banned? Warrior?
Warrior's like an auto ban when you're playing Freeze Mage.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So it's likely that he just chose to ban the Warrior instead of the Shaman, which is fine. I think both bans are some of the most common ones.
It's actually one of my favorite matchups in all of Hearthstone. It's wow. In fact, just like Argent Squire's not Totem Golem.
What? Okay, I think Argent Squire is a keep in most spots here because you force the mage to slow down, and unless he's got the Acolyte on curve.
Very, very good, except it's not Totem Golem.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about what Impact thinks about this matchup. He says, I don't think I win this matchup with a mediocre start. I think I win this matchup with a very good start.
And right now, based on the curve he's looking at, 4 mana 7/7 comes in unimpeded without the overload on turn 4, and that is a really big problem because the only way to answer it in the deck is usually Acolyte on 3 into Fireball, which is on curve.
Actually Talion's hand right now.
That's what he's got right now, but it's one of those situations where there's very few things that deal with it.
So, a little hesitation here from Talion, but I think what he set up for was killing this Totem Golem by quitting the Loot Hoarder and having Frostbolt here.
He can just check to see what else he finds out. Oh, man. I think you have to Frostbolt.
Oh, you set up to do that on,
Don't play it slow, because if you run into another 2-drop or a Flame Tongue, you take more extra damage. You just don't have to.
Panging is just so slow in this one.
That's a good card.
Yeah.
The Healing Totem is actually really good in the matchup. Acolyte of Pain. So maybe you slow down here, right?
There was definitely a very interesting play here of playing Novice Engineer over Acolyte of Pain.
They accomplish the same thing.
If exactly the play is 4 mana 7/7.
Yeah, they accomplish the same thing, but you also get to maybe reuse the Acolyte for future value.
Yep. So, Doomsayer's just...
Wait.
You could pick the Acolyte and play Doomsayer.
I was going to say, I think pinging Acolyte gives you the opportunity to Doomsayer and still get a probable kill on the 7/7 at some point. It's just... You can't guarantee it, and if the board gets even tougher...
So you're trading the Doomsayer for a card, right? Because you can ping the Acolyte this turn, and then... So that means that you're able to get that extra card. Why that's not good is the fact that Doomsayer is actually better than the average card in your deck.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting something like... I mean, he could wait for Nova. It's not as though Shaman has much to answer a Nova Doomsayer nowadays, unless they've got a Doomhammer developed and spells behind it.
You need, like, Lava Burst and one of the 1-mana removals.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's...
kind of suboptimal, but...
I don't like what Talion did here. Drawing is, like, what you need to be doing in Freeze Mage, but... Taking 7's definitely not what you need to be doing.
The thing is, the damage you take from this Famed Faceless, I think gets offset by the barrier you eventually draw. The issue is like how often you're... Because right now on 5 mana, the clunkiness of his turn is just tenfold.
That definitely wasn't the play last turn.
Well, if you keep one of the 1-attack minions, Fireball is still alive.
Now there's like... I guess like...
No, I don't mind it.
Hitting Frost Nova would have been pretty good with his line of play.
Sure.
But the big problem with his play is, cool, we pinged and we drew a bunch of cards, but now we're so far behind in tempo and board.
I feel like you can definitely just Frostbolt, set up the Blizzard if you want to.
So you're Frostbolting the 9/7 in that situation, right?
I assume you would, unless you want to go Doomsday or Ice Barrier and heal for a gazillion. But yeah, I don't mind this.
You're just like never taking 9 again.
If you're sure.
Yeah, you can't afford to. So the play that he made, just let him draw extra cards
Yep.
to close out the board. Because eventually, if you pick up the Novas, you pick up the Blizzards, you pick up the Flame Strike, that board never moves.
It's just the fact that you took that one hit from that 7/7 is so bad. And I think this is all face.
I don't mind killing because by doing this, what you're forcing the opponent to do
Is play Blizzard.
is play the Blizzard, and he has to trade the Novice away in the process, and your 7/7's still alive at the end of that sequence. So you need
What
runner
the other
freezes.
thing did was put your opponent to 8 with a Doomhammer and a Lava Burst in your hand. I think it was checkmate the other way.
Yeah, the odds of him having like 6 mana to float just to play secrets, pretty slim.
Yeah.
Pretty slim, and you could pick up a lightning bolt for the kill.
Maybe it's not. Just Ice Barrier and you're at 16.
Yeah, if you get a hit from the face,
Yeah,
but if
okay.
it spells,
No, this is like pretty reasonable, I guess.
I like
That was so much damage, though.
the
you know?
play that I like the plays that Talion has been making. I mean, he's 2 cards up from where he would be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Where
he has more cards in his hand than he should.
and he still has answers. I mean, we're talking barrier, torch. Unless Rockbiter comes off here, he's alive. So
Oh yeah, there's an Acid Drake in this deck.
yeah, it is a slightly slower deck
Yeah.
with double Spirit Claws, right?
It's
so
not slower
draws
in the
more,
sense that
yeah.
there are still both Lightning Bolts to Rockbiters to Doomhammers, etc. Well,
but it's slower in that it's not trying to just
got-
rush you down as
Just
fast
got
as
some
you want.
Acid Drakes in there.
Horse Riders aren't in that I've seen.
All right, so 7/7 needs to go away finally.
Well, you do pick up the possible only torch you'll ever pick up. But how do you navigate? Is there a way for him to set up for Alex Straza at some point? So, because right now I'm looking at the hand and I see a potential kill coming in at some stage, but
So we're more worried about the fact that after we kill the 7/2, we're taking 8.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be at 11 again. So the turn after.
I think you need to fireball this and then set up, like you would need to
Yeah.
weave in the mana for turn 8
Yeah.
to where you get to play
You need
everything else.
pretty much the game plan here is going to be
Die.
That's 15, 18, 19. Yeah, that's game over.
That's game over right there.
The game plan next turn was to try to remove as much as the board as possible. Then Alex heal. Didn't quite get there. It's just it's just going back to that turn 4.
Where he chose to take the 9 damage.
You need the cast.
Or the
that
7 in that
need
case.
you need the cast fireball there.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Like one thing to say though about Talion is he didn't change his game plan across. You know,
Yep.
as soon as he committed to the play of Novice Engineer Ping, he's like, I'm going to commit to
I
this,
think,
getting AoE and winning.
I think if you look at that game again and the cards just play out a bit differently, his game plan's a lot better if he draws Frost Nova.
The moment you pick up Nova, you get
Yeah.
a full clear unless the Shaman commits so much.
You win.
Exactly.
And he went for that, and it didn't work out.
But if
the
he
other,
had,
the other
he was
line
he was safe.
was more consistent.
You
But
don't
certainly not as strong.
Right.
If the Frost Nova works out, it's just so much stronger.
Yeah,
So,
the big fear
like,
with Nova
definitely not-
Doomsayer.
Definitely not. Like, not how I would play it, but that also not wrong how he played it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's it's not a game that when you sit around to talk about Freeze Mage, I think you can say 100% this was not the play you make. Because I
Yep.
know a lot of Freeze Mage players would play just the match in a different way.
Absolutely.
And play their outs, which are in the deck. Because one of the things that killing the 7/7 now does, instead of setting up for the Nova, might just be, well, I'm drawing too slowly.
Yep.
And I've already got to expand mana later to play secrets. So, playing the Acolyte and pinging it just takes my turn 5 away. And I'd rather just be further ahead on cards at that point. So we'll see whether or not he's able to lock out a win against Hunter. Another matchup that's, now that they played for the board, I mean, okay.
So
But
Impact does not believe in keeping Barnes off the mulligan.
I
Why is that
mean,
in your deck if you're not going to keep it?
on the coin especially?
That's
I think
the-
I'd jam it.
Oh!
The dream!
Did you see that new card?
Yeah, Medivh's Valet. That's actually an Outlast game to kill the 7 mana 2/2 if you played Secret plus ping on 5.
Yeah, that's really
like one of
strong.
those weird situations where
What is he cutting to make room for this card?
a Loot Hoarder or a Novice possibly. Because it acts as
Yeah.
a way for you to stall, I'm imagining. which in some cases kind of evens out. That Novice is great. That Novice is so good right now.
Yeah. Loot Hoarder is actually just better.
Against the 1-1, I mean, he makes the trade and plays a 3-2.
You just, the general sequencing of things is you start with your Death Rattle draws
And
rather
then
than
you
your
draw
immediate draws.
off the top deck. All right, feeding that wolf. Do you...
You ping the dog.
I think you just get the free kill on this
Yeah.
dog. It's too easy to take, because you
It's
can't let a
too-
beast live.
It's way too good, yeah.
If you let the beast live and Houndmaster hits on the coin, then suddenly...
You also reduce 3 damage off the board. And you end up curving into double Loot Hoarder, which will curve into Secret and...
Medivh's Valet.
I was trying to read the name of the card, but yeah.
It's too
Back
small.
Noxus.
I can't do it. He goes for the, I'm just going to get my AoE and win the game from there.
Yeah,
So
it's actually
same thing last
it's
game.
very consistent with exactly what he did last game.
Yeah.
This is his stylistic preference, I guess, of how to play Freeze Mage.
Now he's just going to set up for the damage-based AoE setup. Right now, Impact doesn't have a Houndmaster, and that's the draw.
Ouchie.
That you slam on the board and just punish this mage beyond
this just got out of
reason.
control.
And the thing is, 4 health is exactly what you don't want to have to deal with if there's more than 1 minion on board. Frostbolt ping, I'm okay. You might have to Nova to set up a torch here.
There's no way you Nova this turn.
And if you Nova, you can torch Frostbolt or
You can Frostbolt ping and just leave the 4/4.
I'd kill the 5/3 first and ping the 2/1.
Yep.
Probably better. But man, that was.
Had we killed that dog, we'd be in a better spot.
Yeah. He was assuming there's no Houndmaster here because there was no keep, but you would never keep Houndmaster. So
I'm not sure about that against Freeze Mage. You might.
depending on your other cards, I think you could.
Like if you have like
Grandma.
If you have Grandma against Freeze Mage, like you're so likely to get that to stick.
So I like, by the way, the not playing Nova just because he sets up for like Nova before Blizzard, Medivh's Valet.
I think you make the meme play here.
Is it a meme play, really? It's just good. I think it's just a good card. Oh, nice. It tanked the hit, too. So
That's really good, yeah.
the issue with Medivh's Valet, I'd say in Freeze Mage, is like 2 of your secrets just always get popped right away. So you either play him on 5.
It has to be Ice Block.
Right. It's either Ice Block or you play it on 5.
Or you play Spellbuster. Yeah.
The dream.
No one ever triggers that.
The meme dream.
I wonder if this is going upstairs or he's killing the 2/2.
I'd to set up to protect against Blizzard, going upstairs.
A Blizzard on 1 minion is just like not right though.
Protect against. I mean, the idea is you're protecting it just against a ping over 2 turns setup.
That's too slow at this point.
Yeah.
This might actually just be a Frost Nova Doomsayer turn.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's preventing the opponent from developing.
Yep.
If he plays high main,
Well,
you're happy.
It doesn't actually prevent Impact from developing this kill command upstairs.
He wants the 2/2s to force the Blizzard, which
I like
will
it.
because what it does is it literally
It puts 4 damage into play.
it removes the entire turn 7 from the mage, and then you just follow it up with another minion.
And
Very
you're
often.
looking at Impact's hand, and it's just like you have another high main in your hand, and you have 2 Call the Wilds.
I mean,
You're not running out of stuff.
I don't even think he saw the second high main before he played that one. He just slammed it.
Snap. It's just like, no, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to put your turn on mortgage just to get a Blizzard out, and I'm getting to turn 8. Look at my hand.
These Loot Hoarders, I think, have to hit the field, which is like super scary because you don't want to just take that 4.
Do you torch and double loot?
I think you can make the read that your opponent actually has a second high main and probably Call the Wild if he's so aggressively snap playing that high main into the Doomsayer.
I think you're at least reading one Call the Wild from that play.
Yeah.
100%. Just because he wants to see you remove with AoE to get a better call. Oh man, that draw just lets him curve so nicely into what should be one of the sickest turns you could get as a hunter against mage.
Oh no, no secret.
Well, there's
You
a world in
cannot
which you
use the
freeze.
last Frostbolt.
You have to. Well, you can use the Frostbolt on high main.
You cannot use the last Blizzard. Excuse me. The
Yes.
Frostbolt's gonna have to go on the high main.
Do you develop the Medivh's Valet just as a body, or do you have to ping the 1/1?
You need to ping the high main, and so if he pinged the high main this turn, he could ping it again next turn and then Blizzard killing the 2/2s.
Yeah.
Now when he Blizzards, there's going to be 2/2/2.
Well, he's gonna torch.
Oh, he can torch.
Yeah, no, I think he's just gonna.
But
that plays
pinging is
sets up
just
for
better.
torch.
Pinging is just better, though.
I think it's a hard.
1/1 Ghost Face.
What? Wait, is he playing around?
He just realized.
I thought he was playing around eyes blocked for the perfect. I thought he was like a math genius and just like perfectly nailed it, but
I think he just
messed
made
up.
a slight misstep, which is actually going to allow Talion to full board clear.
I'm not sure about that. So if there's a Blizzard play here, then the clear still occurs. And there's a world in which Talion picks up his last secrets to stay alive and Alex to refuel. Oh my god.
He needs the Alex like very soon. And don't forget there's another Caldwell coming.
Did the Flame Strike
had Impact actually traded the 2/1 into one of the Nautilus? This Leok would stick, right?
And the Huffer hits for harder.
The Huffer's actually would hit for 6.
Right.
But the Squire hit for 2.
So it evened out.
No, he actually got 1 more damage. I'm actually saying it's just correct what he did.
He didn't hit for 2. He attacked first and misstepped.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I hope he's never one off lethal, but he
And
gets it anyway.
Nah,
Who needs the second Call the Wild? We've just got a bow
that was a lot of
to
damage.
go face. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to stop 100 from just bursting you down.
Yeah.
Again, Talion's Freeze Mage seems to be the deck that has the most trouble winning.
Yeah.
And he's banning Warrior, which also leaves, most...
It's just, again, that game, you just ping the dog on turn 3. I think you...
And trade in the Udemric Helmmaster.
Yep. And I think you get a completely different outcome to the game.
Well, sure, because you never take, 12 damage from a Direwolf
That
Alpha.
did so much.
Yeah. It was a really rough minion to let live, which I was surprised. I thought it was a clean kill. Yeah. And the amount of the draw that he had in his hand was very good.
Pinging and Freeze Mage is very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Well, it's going to be the Druid mirror match. Let's see. Let's see who plays the best Druid game. So
a big part of this matchup has become who gets the first giant.
Yeah, I think the Violet Teacher spam as well. Like, there's so many things you have to fight off against, but like the first giant forces a mulch.
When the first giant comes, mulch is usually like a very good answer to big guy because it's mana efficient. But what happens with giant, the interaction between mulch and giant is I still have a tempo lead because my giant was just that cheap.
It cost me very little. Oh, it turns out he's not going to be queuing up the Druid. It will be his mage again, and this is probably a more winnable matchup.
Yep.
Just because of the fact that the Druid still plays a lot for board, and incidentally, there's no... Like, this is not the Savage War type deck, right? The token Druid can get it with Raven Idols, but it's no longer the focal part of the deck.
Oh, Healing Touch is a good one against Freeze Mage.
Yeah, I mean, if you snap pick, you expect Feral Rage and a Healing Touch.
Yep.
I think Talion just knows what that is, yeah.
Here's a...
I mean... If I'm offered Healing Touch and Innervate against Freeze Mage...
It's really, really, really hard for Druid to actually kill a Freeze Mage player.
Nowadays,
it's not like how it used to be with like Force Roar. It's like, lol, killed you on turn 8 again. Druid slowed down in terms of damage output. Not necessarily slow down as a deck, but the damage output has slowed down.
So I feel like keeping this Wrath for 3 damage at some point with the Doomsayers is probably okay.
You definitely... You don't have Silence anymore in your deck, so like keeping stuff to deal with Doomsayers is important. But it's also important just to be doing stuff. But then again, next turn he has a 4-drop, turn after he has a 5-drop. So like, he was already doing stuff without cycling that Wrath.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just looking for the potential mulch. Oh, wow. I just snap the Violet every day, but it's weak to Doomsayer Nova on the coin very often, so it's just,
Do you play around that?
I don't know. I just feel like with the Drake follow-up, you always have like a redraw, and it might just be okay. Oh, man. But it's going to get good here, too, anyway. So
I feel like you're definitely supposed to do that. But it's just too strong, right?
Oh, goodness gracious.
I think maybe he's just looking at that Healing Touch in his hand, and he's like, oh my, that's a good turn next turn.
So what he's doing right now, what Impact is doing, is he's saying, I'm going to play some sort of attrition game where I eventually play a big board, replay a big board, play a giant, good luck.
Yep.
But the issue with that, with Talion, is the Freeze Mage just excels when it's given time to do its own thing.
Right.
Which right now, Impact is kind of giving him.
Impact can just run him out of damage, though. Because there's certain things that just need to get fireballed, like his Emperor.
Oh, that mulch.
Vandal, Innervate, Nourish, Power the Wild. Seems good, man. Seems good. And from Talion's perspective,
that could be just a Wrath play instead, because that way what you do is you cycle and you also kill the Emperor. You don't want to give 2 ticks to that dude.
It's a 5 damage Wrath that draws you a card.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ow.
Yeah, this Giant's not a 6 mana, man.
And now you're in this spot where, well, to be honest, you know what? Out of any deck, Freeze Mage is the best deck at ignoring
and
Fandral.
ignoring the, I think Freeze Mage
is very good at not
back.
killing Emperor and not killing Fandral.
Yeah.
It's just like the specialty.
Let me just get to a point where I kill you in 1 turn. Oh, that's a
it's
tough
just
turn.
so easy to kill a Doomsayer with Fandral and Drake on board.
I feel like you want a Blizzard and just maybe set up.
I like being making the mana efficient play here.
And you weave in secrets easier on the next turn as well.
Yep. You could have secreted a Nova this turn, but you would have ended up floating a mana.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we're going to be seeing
Doomsayer would have been very nice to start his turn. Maybe we could have went like Nova Doom Secret.
I don't dislike that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Didn't get there.
All right, so he's going to be forcing removal or other freezes. So one of the things that
I'm actually surprised that a Malagos wasn't just planted on the board.
You do threaten some disgustingly powerful lethals.
Yeah.
And if he tries to Doomsayer Nova, you just mulch. And if you have spells, you just kill it with spells. Well, yeah, I think that's...
Doomsayer is a whole lot easier to kill.
With Malagos.
When you have a Malagos on board. I think one of the big problems for Talion is
where's his skill?
He cannot... the Ice Bears actually just don't do anything. The board's like just too big.
What could he possibly get from mulch?
Pay attention,
That's
class.
Useful? Probably like a Yogg-Sothoth or something.
I'm ready to learn.
I mean, right now... Velen!
Does that do anything?
Frostbolt, Icelands?
Yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, you do need to live until then.
Yeah.
That's ambitious.
It's pretty clunky.
You could use, like, that's the thing. You could technically just use your 2-mana Frostbolt and your other spells, as long as Velen. Because, like, Frostbolt, Icelands would add up to,
So
how much is that, like 6? That's like, yeah, it's not even lethal quite yet on its own, but it's a lot of burn. I think you have to cycle that torch at some point, but I mean, how do you...
You don't actually want to draw Fireball. You want to draw Freeze. But Freeze doesn't help you on its own.
Yeah.
This is...
Okay, I think just at this point, what he has to do is clean up this board. He just has to try to remove as much as he can and freeze the big dude and hope to cycle.
18, 22, 25, 26 on board?
Yeah.
So Ice Barrier is not good enough.
On its own, it definitely isn't. So if you Ice Barrier, you have to Ice Block and freeze things and kill things. You can use Frostbolt,
If he can
torch.
pop the Ice Block, you're dead anyways. So Ice Block's just not getting played this turn.
I think he wants to play with Torch and Frostbolt, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. I mean, he's far from popped here, right?
Like,
well, far from popped, that's a big word.
But if he could, if it back can just pop this block, then he loses anyways.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't play the block.
So the block is meant to just buy you time until you actually lead.
Right, but
so
the block doesn't set up for anything. You loot Hoarder, yeah.
Because the Ice Block can be played the turn before you try to burn him down.
Exactly.
Just to buy yourself
you need
one bit of extra time.
The Ice Block is supposed to be a setup card towards something that does something. And that's just not like a condition being met here.
Well, there are a lot of draws in the deck that freeze.
It did set up for like Alex Straws off the top, I guess.
Yeah, but it's one of those, like, do you really kill him, though, with the use of the first Frostbolt and the Torch? Alex Straza wouldn't kill right away.
Yeah.
Even unless you picked up Icelands as a direct follow-up for your Frostbolt,
Yeah, you
Fireball.
still don't have lethal.
Right.
Well, the Frostbolt would be 6, and the Ice Lance would be 8 with the
8.
balance. Even then, you're like 2 off.
Right.
At least
So
there's 3 armor too.
the Ice Block, I think, just played into, okay, I don't pick up freeze next turn, and I get just play double Hoarder, and then I use my second barrier, and then I still stall a bit longer. So now the question is ping face to remove the armor, right?
Yeah, that's definitely more relevant than playing the Ice Barrier. You're dead by a mile if this board can never attack. Protecting the armor's like somewhat relevant here. You're past the point where playing the Malgus is actually of any use anymore.
Yeah, so you put 1/1s on the board, which means nothing he has in hand can be played as long as this is frozen. But the only other freeze effect that exists is a Blizzard. We've seen 1 Nova, 1 Blizzard, 2 Novas, 1 Blizzard.
Yep, so there's a Blizzard left.
And that would kill a lot of the small stuff.
Don't think there's a copy of Flame Strike in this deck.
With the 2 Medivh's Valets, that might have been one of the cards to make its way
Flame
out.
Strike actually, surprisingly, does very little against a 7 minion board. Blizzard's the best draw.
Blizzard is the. How many cards left in the deck? I missed that, but
it's turn 9. He's probably got about 12 left.
now Alex draws on the draw now. Does feel good.
That's how you do it.
That's pretty good. All right. So do you Thalnos this, or does it just die every time and it's pointless? You might as well keep it for burn. That's a tough one. So 10 cards left for the Druid player. 10 cards for the Mage deck. So both have drawn an equal amount of cards.
Yeah.
The odds of that Blizzard was very slim. It was like in the
1 in
less
11.
Than, yeah,
9%.
It's like 9% chance to draw that one. That was the card to beat.
He does have a second block.
And a second
You're
barrier.
just so far away from stringing that damage.
You could Velen for 12, but I mean, you pop the block. If you had Ice Lances in your hand, I'd say go for it. If you did, I'd just tell you to pull the trigger on this.
I think you need multiple cards to do anything significant.
Okay, I guess
again, that Ice Bear is just like,
I'd ping face.
Yeah, it just.
Wait, I think what it does is it plays into Alex draw the draw because you can't play it next turn if you do draw it, and I think
you can't play what?
The secret if you pick up Alex off the top.
What's Barrier gonna do?
No, I mean you can't pop it. Like there's just no way Alex Straza is gonna be playable if you bury on the same turn. The issue is if this board attacks, the damage just does nothing.
Exactly. That's why I like playing the bear is just like not important.
Yeah.
I guess it plays around like a swipe Feral Rage, but if your opponent has Feral Rage in his hand, you know you lose anyways.
Yeah, so 2 draws here to pick up an Alex to help. These are not exactly amazing. They chip off the armor. I mean, they do chip off the armor.
They do trip up.
I mean, you could try to clean up, but...
I think you just fireball your opponent in face for 12.
Wait, you can clean up quite a bit because the Fireball, Frostbolt, double Valet, that's a lot of removal.
You can't win the game if you do that.
You kill a Giant, you kill a Teacher, you can pop at the other Giant. I mean, you can do a lot of things.
I think he's going face for 12.
All right.
Giddy up, cowboy.
No more secrets left at the end of that turn, so Medivh's Valley is now dead in the water.
Well, he can play the Ice Block.
Yeah, but
which he needs to do anyways, right?
So he needs to pick up Ice Lance, Runner.
Oh, here comes some more idle cards.
And if that's any healing, like Moonglade Portal, Feral Rage, Healing Touch, we're not going to feel good.
That's the minion.
Yep.
I was like, what spell is that?
Mark if you charge cycles for more stuff.
Yeah. I'm actually very surprised he's not casting that Nourish. When I have a Fandral on board, I tend to play all my shiny cards.
So...
Maybe he's like worried about fatigue.
I mean, you must Healing Touch this turn, but you can Nourish first, which is okay.
You don't actually need to heal. There's no way you're actually dead from 22.
Not with the stuff you've seen thrown at your face already.
Yeah.
There's a Forgotten Torch in the deck, so if the hand is Forgotten Torch, Ice Lance, Frostbolt, how much is that?
Just not casting.
That's not enough, man.
I guess he doesn't have maybe he just doesn't have Feral Rage in his deck. And he's like, and honestly, it's just like his Vandral's still gonna be there next turn.
Yeah, it's still gonna be able to Nourish again. I mean, you've seen everything from the Mage at this stage.
Oh. You can play all your cards.
Just Eyes Block, double Valley Face, and proceed to never draw anything helpful.
It does 13 damage. One of the big problems with this Valet card is doesn't actually do much.
I mean, the Valet is probably
doesn't
better in a
draw a
value
card.
mage, right? Like, if you're playing a mage that
Yeah.
plays Kabbalah Stone, Babbling Books, and tries to just play secrets that give you
Free-
some form of,
Freeze-
sustainability.
Freeze Mage just does not have the room for value cards.
Yeah.
There's not a single value card in Freeze Mage.
So, like, imagine those Valets are the Flame Strikes that are gone.
Wouldn't it be Flame Strike? It'd be more like Novice Engineer.
We saw
That
we
can
saw those
actually-
cards actually in the end,
What is he? Okay, so Mirror Image we didn't see it in any of the games.
and I didn't see Flame Strikes.
We didn't see Flames. But
We saw two Blizzards,
It's
right?
actually normal to not play Flame Strike in Freeze Mage.
Sure, but like a one-off copy is rather, you kind of see it nowadays quite a bit. We saw the Novice, 2 Loot Hoarders, so there's quite a bit of a draw. I just wonder what ended up, being removed from the deck to make room for these. But Impact is going to take it
Yep.
in the quarterfinals. So he's going to be
Just-
going to the semis. Talion is going to be dropping out. Kind of sad Freeze Mage
Couldn't
dropped
get it
out,
today.
but sometimes the deck kind of fizzles.
Yeah.
But these Valleys experimental,
That was like a pretty solid Druid draw. Not like the fastest, but like
high value and high impact.
he got a big board and pretty quickly too.
Yeah, and he forced freezes out of the mage really quickly, which
Yeah.
honestly, if Talion whiffed on any of these freeze turns,
He was just.
the game was pretty much over, but
Yep.
he managed to drag it out, maybe a bit
It's
more
not,
than
it's
we
not.
anticipated.
It's not like the freezes were actually wasted. They were just like, I gotta play this or I'm dead,
Yeah,
and that kept happening again and again, and you just couldn't get anything going.
yeah. I want to see, I'll talk to Talion later to see what he thinks about Medivh Valet in the deck. Maybe it works out against aggro a bit better. But that being said,
Yeah,
guys,
absolutely, there'll be a better
um,
card in those matchups.
surely. We'll be taking a quick break before we come back for the third match in the quarterfinals, that is, before we move on to the last one and then into the semis. Stay tuned for more Hearthstone action at the Northern Arena.